Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Motivation, the show where we dive headfirst into the most amazing minds. My guest is a fellow recipient of the Man of Valor Award that was received in 2019. He has a master's in life coaching and a master's in NLP. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Ridwaan Mahomed. Assalamu alaikum, Ridwaan, and welcome to Motivation.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me, Mohammed. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure. It's so good to see you after a while. I mean, we've done many things together. Some have worked, some have failed, and that's the way it goes, I guess. But it's amazing to see you. I met you for the first time in 2019 when we received the Man of Valor Award. It was such an honor to meet you and those amazing gentlemen there as well.
Yeah, definitely. What an amazing group of people we had, eh?
No, unbelievable. It's so inspiring to be around so many people that actually uplift you. It shows the importance of being around people that are important in your life, yet at the same time want to see you grow while they're growing as well. And that's what a life coach does, isn't it? 100%. And that's what I want to know from you. Tell me, what is a life coach? And what is the difference between a life coach and NLP?
So a life coach is somebody who, when you're really having a difficult time in life and you're not coping with any area of your life or even your business for that matter, you would get a life coach to come in who would take you from, let's say, under the dark rock to get to zero. Zero is like your baseline. And then you have your NLP practitioner who would come in and they would take you from that zero to achieving excellence. So if you're trying to achieve a target that you're not able to achieve, that's when you get an NLP practitioner, whereby they help you get to that target. And your life coach would be that person who would come in when you're totally depressed and you don't know why. And they would help you find out why you're sitting in that state of depression and get you to that point where you're feeling okay.
Right.
You know, and then you grow.
Wow. Okay. I actually didn't realize that with a life coach taking you from such a rock bottom and then bringing you up. Have you had people who have come to you and said, okay, I'm not at rock bottom yet, but I do feel like I need a life coach in my life, someone to just guide me. Is that possible with a life coach, or does someone have to be rock bottom to get a life coach and then only NLP after that?
No, generally, you would get somebody who would study life coaching and then they would study NLP. So you don't necessarily have to be at rock bottom. You could be somewhere where you know you're not 100% okay.
Yes.
Or maybe you're feeling great and you want to go further.
Okay.
Your life coach can help you get there. So NLP is like a system that you utilize where you take a person through a program to get to where they want to achieve or where they want to go.
For our viewers, the meaning of NLP?
It's neuro-linguistic programming. So it's got to do with a language that's utilized to reprogram your mental psyche or your mind.
Okay. On the basis of neuroplasticity, like rewiring the brain into becoming a better version of itself.
100%.
Okay.
100%. So the whole ideology or the whole idea is for you to say, who would I like to be in the future?
Okay.
And then you start working towards that person you would like to be.
Okay, and is it possible to rewire the brain? I mean, we've got programs in us that were instilled in us from the time we were born. And now we're sitting at 30, 40, 50, some people 60, 70, 80. As long as we have air in our lungs, we're going to keep changing, right?
Yeah.
But is it possible to rewire the brain? And then how long does it take to actually see the progress of rewiring the brain?
So that obviously it is possible because we do it all the time as life coaches and as an NLP practitioners, right? So the process basically is all about seeing what the program is, which is what we call it, right? And then rewriting it to be what you want to be. So a better way of putting it will be is look at the upside of things or look at the other side of the story. So you basically create that change within the mind where you take away the negative program and you put in a positive program. Okay. So if somebody, for example, wants to study a different language, but they battle to study languages, is because they have some sort of a program that says you're not good at studying languages. Okay. So we find that program and we rewrite it that says that you are worthy of studying a new language and you can do it.
Oh, wow, okay.
So automatically now, it doesn't just change overnight, right? Then you kind of like utilize various types of affirmations that helps you create or force that program into your system. So now you start believing it. As soon as you start believing it, you become good at languages. And a better example to use is you have a young student at school that's battling with mathematics. Because somewhere along the line, they were told they're not good at math, right? And I do a crazy type of tuition where we teach kids math tricks, right? So we go in there and we start teaching this person who's really battling mathematical tricks, how to calculate in your head, like the square of 97, like this, right? And once the person starts to get it, automatically they start feeling more confident. That confidence starts changing the program in their minds that I can't do this to I can do it.
Wow.
And that automatically changes.
Wow.
You know, and if you take like the square of 97, it becomes 9409. 9,409.
Right.
You can do that, anybody can do that. I mean, this is just one example.
I understand.
But now you teach this to a kid who's battling with mathematics and say, I can do this. Automatically, they want to learn more.
So your programs are basically based on breaking down these barriers that stop us from becoming the best individuals we could possibly become. And I mean, this show for me is always about teaching our viewers how to become the best versions of themselves. But sometimes there is a block in there that doesn't allow it. How do I get out of this depression? How do I get out of this anxiety? I'm permanently obsessed with specific things. How do I have an addiction? How do I get out of this addiction as well? And all this stems from the brain being wired in a specific way. And now we're trying to rewire the brain again. For instance, if we had a drug addict, let's use an example. How long would it take for us to rewire the brain of a drug addict to make him believe that, you know what, I do not need this substance?
Okay, so this is now a very complicated discussion, right? One of the reasons being is that generally the person who is bound by substance abuse, they have underlying issues. In order to solve the one problem of substance abuse, you need to solve the underlying issue. Only once you solve that problem can you address the substance abuse.
Right.
I hope this makes sense.
Fixing the roots
it's like
first.
You're an athlete, right? You're into sports, right? If a person has got a knee injury and they want to go cycle a marathon, you're wasting your time teaching them how to make it to the end of the marathon. We have to first fix the knee problem.
I understand.
So this is the process that would come into it. Look, the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and DA, Drugs Anonymous, etc. They have a brilliant program that was written in, I think, 1968 or something like that, right? And this program is phenomenal. It's one of the most amazing programs I've ever come across.
Right.
Back to your question. There is no timeline on how to fix something because everybody's at different stages. I could meet up with somebody who you're having an issue whereby you not that I've ever seen you lose your temper, but you get angry very often. All we need to do is identify why you're getting angry and resolve that one issue. As soon as we resolve that, now the core part of the issue is gone. Although now you have a habit. This is where the reprogramming comes. Now we need to reprogram that habit to say that when a certain situation happens, you don't get angry. And we change that habit now. When you go into a situation, instead of getting angry, you use your mantra, I will be calm, I will be peaceful, whoa. Whatever the mantra, affirmation might be.
It's so funny that you brought that up because I resonate very well with that. I was someone who had a terrible temper and I really had to work on it. And saying the things you said where, you know what, I will be calm, I am a calm person, telling yourself this, rewiring the brain, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, listen, this is not the way to behave. This is the way that you need to be, and start believing in that and slowly changing it. And I mean, just hearing what you say, it's actually so true because now it makes sense to me that the brain actually rewired in a specific way. So now when something wants to trigger me or someone wants to trigger me, it doesn't trigger me the way it used to trigger me before because the brain is now using a totally different pathway to say, hey, listen, this is no longer the route we use. That road is closed. We've built a new highway now to a much happier place. Yeah. Let's go on that highway. And that sounds like what NLP is doing. It's basically building new highways in your brain to reach the same reward center that your brain has, but without using the ways that you initially used.
One of the key issues or problems we sit with as insan or people is that we have this small little niggly thing. You might have heard of it. It's called ego. We have this thing where we don't want to let go of things, where our ego is basically something that we hold on to.
Yes.
And, just letting go of that little bit takes us a long way. So, we want to win that argument. We want to win the fight. We want to be on top. And if we can let go of ego, we can still get there, but using a different path.
Yes.
And it's just that ego thing is like the most phenomenal thing ever.
I had Sheikh Suleiman Mullah on who said we need to just let the E and go, like leave the E and go, and that's the way that we need to do. And this is something that we need to learn how to do, right? So after the break, we're gonna get into how to let things go, to stop holding on to things which are holding us back and weighing us down. Because that's the part, I think, that's the root that most people struggle from, that lead them to anger, depression, anxiety, and that because they're holding on to everything. I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope it's informative, understanding how the mind works and understanding how we can rewire the mind. This is Motivation, and I'll see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. I hope you're ready to learn how to let things go. Ridwaan, before the break, we were talking about the ego, how it makes us hold on to things. How important is it to just let it go?
You know, if you think about majority of the issues that you have in your life are based on emotional baggage that comes from things that you were holding on to or things that you are holding on to, you know. I always love the analogy of that precious little stone that guy Gollum holds on to. I don't know if you know who he is. And he sits there and he says, my precious, you know. And now we take an emotion and we hold on to this emotion. And every time me and you had an argument, every time I see you, I'm like shining the stone and, you know, making it glow. And it's killing me on the inside, but I keep on doing this. And this is what holding on does to you.
Right.
It just puts more and more and more baggage onto you. And all you need to do is let go. Let go, you know, people get angry. People get upset. We do things, we say things. We do it. And then when somebody else does it, we get angry at them. Like, why did they say this about me? But I said something about them some time back.
Yes.
I forget of that part. So, you know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does stupid things. And everybody does things that are wrong. And this is what life is all about. It's learning and moving on. Now, me and you have an argument and I tell you, Mo, you're an idiot, and I leave. Now you're sitting there, that guy said this, he said this, he said this, and you're holding on to it. Meantime, I let go. I'm not holding on to it. Right. I forgot about it, but you're holding on to it, you know? So the whole idea is, look at what has happened, look at the situation, and take some responsibility. We call it the law of causality, cause and effect. Okay. So either you're the cause of something or you're the effect of something. So if you're the effect of something, you blame everybody, you don't take responsibility. It's always somebody else that's the issue or something else that caused you to be in the situation. Now, when you accept responsibility, me and you walking in the street and you brush my shoulder or bump into me, and we can continue walking. Now I'm upset you did it. So let me take responsibility. Maybe I didn't see you. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I have some responsibility. As soon as I take responsibility, what happens is I say, okay, what can I do to fix it? Right. Now I can fix the problem and I can move on. So even if you didn't have anything to do with the situation, accept responsibility for getting angry or upset or having the emotional attachment or the emotional outburst that went along with it. Accept responsibility and say, right, it's done now, move forward. You know, people are going to hurt you in your life. Things are going to happen throughout your whole entire life. You cannot stay away from it. But why hold on to it?
There was a beautiful psychologist that I saw. He gave a lecture and he put it actually beautifully. He said, if I hold this glass of water, very light and it's not really going to hurt my arm, I'm going to hold it and it's not going to hurt, and then I'm going to hold it for 5 minutes and it's still, my arm starts hurting a little bit, but not too bad. And then I hold it for 1 hour and my arm gets numb. And then I hold it for 24 hours and my arm is almost feeling like it's going to fall off. The weight of the water, of the glass of water, hasn't changed. But because I'm holding onto it, it just feels heavier and heavier and heavier. And people need to understand that we need to let go, because what's happening is the longer we hold on to something, it's damaging us as individuals, and it's not damaging the person that you're harboring the hatred towards. It's not damaging anyone else. All it's doing is sitting inside you, and then of course your brain is going into this fight or flight mode permanently, and then it creates things like anxiety, it creates things like depression. And going back to what we spoke about, addiction, it leads to things like addiction. And then we need to actually start accessing, where is the root? What are we holding on to? So the importance of letting go goes far beyond just forgiving the person or forgiving the moment and forgetting about it. It's actually the way not to lead to problems going in the future.
Exactly. And you know, holding on to issues is not only a mental thing. It can manifest its way into physical ailments within the body. So, you know, I would suggest things like, if you're sick, look at what's wrong with you, and then evaluate where does it come from? What am I holding on to that gets me to this position of being sick? Am I holding on to anxiety? That's why I have stomach problems, for example. I'm not giving exact examples
for
here.
sure, but
I'm just,
I understand what you're saying.
That type of a thing. And am I having a hard time breathing? So am I holding on to anger?
It's the fight or flight mode that our body goes into, almost as if we see a lion coming to attack us.
Yeah.
That same panic that we get, the body is going to constantly be in that state because we're constantly holding on to that nervousness, and our nervous system doesn't know what's causing it. It doesn't know that there was an emotional trauma attached to it. All it's doing is reacting to how you're feeling in the moment, because it's very instant, the nervous system. So if it's going to constantly react into how you're feeling in the moment, and this is how you're constantly feeling, you're going to put yourself under unnecessary stress. And then, of course, cortisol releases. And when cortisol releases, all that's going to do is create excess fat that you don't want in your life. And then we know stress also just creates unnecessary problems, or is a catalyst to underlying problems that we already have.
Exactly. So like you're saying, like you said earlier on, now you hold on to these emotions, right? And they become heavier and heavier. So if you have, I don't know, I'm just picking an issue and a part of the body. So you have a problem whereby you get a bit nervous and you don't address it. What happens is eventually you become anxious, and then you have anxiety issues. Now you have to go on medication for anxiety. And all you had to do was let go of the problem in the first place, where somebody said, you know what, break a leg.
Wow.
Yes, that type of a thing.
No, it's so important, man. It really is so important to understand this concept. And Ridwaan, I'm so happy that you brought it to the attention of our viewers, because I think a lot of people sitting at home are holding on to a lot of grudges and things that are unnecessary to hold on to. So it's so important for us to just forgive, forget, rather raise our hands, look at Allah and make dua for the person. Make dua that that person succeeds in life, because the dua for their success in life will lead to success beyond measures in your life. And if you don't see it in this world, then inshallah we will see it in the akhirah. So our religion also teaches us the importance of just letting go of these petty issues, because life is not about that. Life is about finding yourself, growing yourself, educating yourself, and serving your Allah to the best of your capabilities.
Yeah. Look, if you look at it, letting go is quite simple. It's not an easy process, but it's simple to know how to do it, right? Find the problem and let it go. Now, if you look at the scenario whereby I said, Mohammed, you have got 30 days to live, right? What's going to be important to you in this 30 days? Holding on to an argument that you had with somebody, is that really going to have any meaning to you in your life? Really?
Yes.
Your best friend that you fought with, wouldn't you rather pick up the phone and say, you know what, things happened in the past, I'm really sorry. Rekindle the friendship. Holding on to all those things means nothing in the bigger picture of your life.
It makes you so much a better person, just to let it go, to be the first to apologize, to move on, and to say, you know what? I'm not bigger than you in any way. We're all on the same level here. There's no one above the next. All of us are on the same level. We're all trying for happiness. We're all trying to succeed in life. There's no reason to wish for someone else's failure. There's no reason to hold on and harbor hatred against anyone. Ridwaan, it's so phenomenal to hear this from you and to hear it from a life coach's point of view. And I hope our viewers understand how important it is to get someone who can mentor you in life, be it a life coach, be it NLP, be it a YouTube video, be it this show. Just someone that can mentor you in life, to be able to pick you up. And I really want to acknowledge you for the work that you do, for the inspiration that you are to those lives that you have brought up, the inspiration you've been to me, because after meeting you, I was so inspired to get involved in work in terms of uplifting people and making people see the best in themselves, which is what an NLP coach does. It also sent me down the path of researching neuroplasticity and researching the ability to mold one's mind and change one's mind. So I really want to acknowledge you for that. But before we leave, it's one final question that I ask all of my guests. It's a question that everyone seems to love and everyone wants to know the answer to. It's a hypothetical question. It's your last day on earth. Many years from now, inshallah, you've written all the books that you want to write and you've done all the interviews and everything. But for some reason, it all has to be erased. All the work you've done, all the books, the master's degrees, everything has to just be erased. But Ridwaan can leave the world with 3 pieces of advice. What would his 3 pieces of advice to the world be?
I think one would be is education. continue learning, continue studying no matter what, because there is no bounds to it. You know, the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none. And then there's the next part to the saying, which is two is better than one.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So automatically it shows you that you can have more talents and you can be multi-talented. So never stop learning, because the world is so vast and there's so much to learn. The second thing is never stop doing things for people. Never stop trying to go out there and help. Do acts of kindness. All of these things are not for other people, they're for yourself.
Yes.
Doing acts of kindness helps you feel better about yourself. It can help you cure ailments and that in your life. And the third thing in life is don't hold on to anything. Let go and simply say, I'm sorry.
Really, letting go is that important, that you would attribute it to the last three things that you would leave this world. I hope our viewers understand the importance of it. But in order to do that, we need to step out of our comfort zone. And that's a zone where we find ourselves sitting in, and that zone just gets smaller and smaller as we move on in life. So stepping out of the comfort zone into that fear zone is where a lot of people struggle. But I think letting go is the first step out of that comfort zone into the fear zone that says, you know what? I'm looking for a better life. I'm looking for a newer life. I'm looking for a happier life. And I'm looking for a more peaceful life.
100%.
No, Ridwaan, I really appreciate having you on the show. I hope Ridwaan has been wonderful to you in terms of understanding how the mind works, in terms of understanding that we need to work on ourselves constantly and that we need to learn to let go. And we need to get out of this comfort zone that we are in, because everyone is looking for something that is easy. But the greats, they are searching for something that is difficult. So be a great. Look after yourself. Let it go. This is motivation. And let me motivate you.